I've never celebrated it, ever. So the first time you go to school, you're 4. I don't know how it went, like in the really early stages, but as far as I can remember, you would have coloring books, right? And these coloring stencils. I never chose one that was orthopedic. Give me a flower, give me a Christmas tree. It wasn't even an issue because even if I was 4, even if I was 5, 6, it didn't matter. My mom explained to me in a manner that worked for a child. Why?
I want to ask you the last questions for yourself, and then we have one more. Do you have anything to add around the subject of the diaspora, connecting, what it feels like to just be you? What's so beautiful about being Black? Anything?
Yeah. Well, 2 things then. One thing, the beauty in Black. I feel like it's also become trendy to be Black, Okay, there's nothing I can do to fight it, but I would love to counter it in my own way. So what I would really love to tell people, and I try to tell them, is seeing the beauty in who they are and owning their own messages. Because if they don't, someone else will. And you will see a Becky running around with the same hairstyle or the same clothes or trying to own a certain narrative that is not hers, theirs, his. And that's fine because you can't change that person. But you do decide what you own and what you want to grow comfortable with. We cannot always dictate what our circumstances are. Sometimes you might be a little less fortunate. You might not have a lot of resources. People around you might not be as knowledgeable about certain things. But if you're committed, then you can start owning that narrative. So, and I think it's a really beautiful narrative. I think there's a lot of beauty in Black. And that's, for me, that goes beyond the entertainment industry. I think our people are incredibly talented and gifted people, but it's more than just rap. It's more than just having thick thighs or whatever you might associate with Black. It's a feeling spiritually. That's, for me, it's the beauty. And another thing for me is let's also look at our communities more. Let's look at what's happening inside of our communities and how we can contribute. It's easy trying to make it according to the white man's standard. And getting to a place where you can say, I bought 3 Michael Kors bags and I have this in this car. I live in this fancy neighborhood in this very white area. If your standard of success and living constantly has to measure up to that of a white person, you are still tied to them. There's nothing wrong with it, but what are your reasons? So I would love to see more people putting effort, money, time, passion into the Black community, taking each other seriously, helping each other out, uniting, and not feel as if we're rivals. That, to me, that's something that I find really important, and I hope that people adopt it passionately, militantly. I'll have one more thing.
Okay.
I love Black people. That should be said. It can be said. I love Black people. That should be said.
Since your background, from what you've said, was filled with different colors, complexions, and you have your Black mother, you have your white father, both giving you some sense of confidence in their own way, who you are. How does this straddle with the Schwarz-Piet issue? How does this interact, so to speak?
Okay, so I was little. I would not go to the Schwarz-Piet celebration at school. My mom would go to school, tell them why, maybe not. She would write a letter, hand it over to the head, and that was it. If there were any complaints, she would face them really formally. I would stay at home. I had no sort of issue with that. Because
did you know what was happening?
Yeah.
And she told you why?
I knew everything.
Wow.
Everything.
How old are you at this point?
Youngest. I've never celebrated it, ever. So the first time you go to school, you're 4. I don't know how it went, like in the really early stages, but as far as I can remember, you would have coloring books, right? And these coloring stencils. I never chose one that was sortepid. Give me a flower, give me a Christmas tree. It wasn't even an issue because even if I was 4, even if I was 5, 6, it didn't matter. My mom explained to me in a manner that worked for a child why and what other things we could do and why that specific occasion was not important to my well-being in any way. So I understood, and that's something I took with me. Right? She had her own struggles, and she fought them, but it wasn't something that I would have to explain. That was strange to me. My mom always was very direct and honest with me about why she did something, and she would involve me. So I had the chance to learn, not feel as if something was dictated. I had the chance to learn and see for myself.
Now, when you're held back from the Schwarzpizza events, Sinterklaas events, did you feel you're missing out at all? Like, all your friends were at the parties?
Not at all.
What were you doing when they're at the parties?
Drawing.
Okay.
Just like we would do at school. For example, you would be drawing, dancing at home, just like everyday stuff. Yeah. And people would, like, it's almost as if they felt guilty, not guilty, but they felt ashamed or like pitiful. Why?
But you missed out on the candy.
That's what people said. You missed out on the candy. Well, they come, first of all, in November, they bombard all the classrooms and they throw candy at you. Well, if I catch it, I have candy, right? So I didn't miss the candy. Plus, I could just go to the grocery store and buy it myself. And secondly, people would ask me, yeah, don't you miss the presents? No. I grew up in a very loving family, and I could give them presents. I could get presents from them on the 1st of July, on the 25th of March. It didn't have to be the 5th of December for me to be appreciated and feel loved. Plus, it would be Christmas a few weeks later. So there wasn't, I didn't feel as if I was missing out because I felt like there was no value for me in it.
And looking back now, how do you think that shaped you?
It shaped me a lot. It shaped me a lot. I feel that I'm very confident in the way I approach stuff. I might not know everything. I'm also still learning. But I feel that that confidence is something that I was taught and I saw it. I grew up with it. It's not something that I had to look for. And so a lot of Black people's reactions you see now or that I see now around me, and not even in a condescending way, I've already lived through. Because I saw how my mom handled it. At first, you have this really angry stage where you read the whole comment section, right? You get angry at every single comment from a white person. People telling me, get out of the country, and people you thought were friends, wishing you'd rather be somewhere else instead of here if you didn't like it, right? But at one point, I was like, you know what? There's really no use for me to be angry. That's what they want. That's what the colonizers want. So I'm not going to read the comment sections because I already know what they say. I'm just going to put forward my own positive messages. And that's how I dealt with it. Very, concise in discussions. If people asked me about it, I would explain to them why I didn't celebrate it. But if people really wanted to, pick a fight with me, I'm not going to engage because obviously you are not deserving of my time, my effort, or the energy that I would put into educating you because that's not what you want. You want to agitate me. Mm-hmm. So that's how I, learned to deal with it.
Please like and subscribe. Shout at Hues Films.